Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, and today I'm going to be doing something a bit different. We're going to be doing a live commentary, but with pre-recorded gameplay. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but the point is I'm talking over the footage that's rolling in the background right now. This is from some matches that I recorded this morning, and I basically just wanted to show off the new map OASIS and talk you through the different aspects of it. I figured you guys want to see gameplay. I'd like to show that to you, but I'd also at the same time like to focus on and talk about the map. We don't need to talk about my soldier gameplay, especially when I miss shots. Let's not focus on that. So this new map OASIS is a King of the Hill map, as you could probably see here in the background. It's all about point capture, and I'm showing you each different segment and just kind of want to talk about the layout and everything. So this first segment that we're taking a look at, and this is in no particular order, and that's worth noting because all of the matches that I did this morning over the course of about 2 or 3 hours, the rotation was different for each section of the OASIS map. So I'm actually not sure what is supposed to be first, second, and third because depending on the match, it would be different every time. The first section in the rotation would change. So anyway, point is, this is the first one we're taking a look at, and we're at the central point. Each section of the OASIS map for each capture point for King of the Hill is relatively small. As you can see in this one here, we've got the capture point to our right, and there is a little ledge above it as well. To our left, there's this big tower thing, inside of which is a health pack, and then there's essentially corridors on either side. Now, as with most King of the Hill maps, everything is mirrored, so one side is identical to the other, just coming from the opposite direction. So you don't need to see both sides of the map to know what both sides of the map are. It is split down the middle, and far as I can tell, identical on either side. So that's the first point. Here's the second point. This one's actually really, really interesting. It's actually, I feel like this is the smallest of each of the points here on OASIS, but I really like it because it's a bit dynamic. There's a drop down in the center. There are paths to the left and the right that are elevated, so you could get a little bit of a high ground advantage. And then there's a couple of ways to get down into the lower area. If you notice that staircase to the right there, leading down in the opponent section. This is one of those elevated areas with a health pack. Little corridor over here. I'm not sure what exactly that Torbjorn was trying to do, but health packs located pretty much where you expect them at key points to the left there. That area in the upper right here, which I believe I'm about to go to courtesy of the Zarya bubble, also has a health pack, and this is the highest, most elevated area that you could get that looks right down onto the point. It's actually a really nice spot. Now, the area underneath is interesting because it can be used for flanking, especially with certain heroes like a Genji, obviously. He can go down from underneath there and then double jump his way right up actually onto the point. So you'd have to be covering the left corner here, the right elevated corridor that we were up at a moment ago, and then also watching the underneath area that a Genji, for example, could go to. And both areas, as we say, they're mirrored. So the staircase that's here on the opposition side, there's a staircase on our side. So if we're not watching underneath where I'm about to go now, someone could walk through and then directly take the path and then flank us from right behind. That's a very cool mechanic. I'm actually not sure in terms of map design if there's been something like that on other maps. I can't think of it at the moment, but something that literally gives a clear-cut path right behind the opposing team. It's really interesting. So yeah, and here's the center exit as well from that subterranean. I don't know why I'm calling that, just whatever. That area underneath, there's the center exit that puts you right onto the point. Okay, so here, that's the second point. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the third point. And I saved this one for last for one particular reason, because I'm going to focus a bit on the sort of gimmick of the map OASIS, and that is the jump pad. So here's the central capture area with this mini little tower in the center, but there's a jump pad all the way, I guess what I'll call the left side, and I'm doing just directions from where our spawn is facing straight ahead. So on this left side here, there's a jump pad, and initially when this was mentioned that they were going to have this, I think a lot of people were really concerned it'd be super overpowering. Now, it's certainly good because it gives you an elevated advantage, but as you saw from me coming up out there, you actually don't have a ton of of line of sight. Beyond the top of this ledge, blocking people directly below, the object little tower thing here in the center, and then all the walls on either side. It's not as if you have a perfect line of sight as to the entire battlefield. In fact, if anything, you have the line of sight on top here, but then it's almost like just a crescent moon bit of vision that you get. Now, that's not to take away from it. It's certainly a big deal, and I have a feeling that whatever team can maintain that high ground advantage, whether they have a McCree, a Soldier, or a Widowmaker up there, it's going to be a big advantage. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think it's necessarily as crazy as some of us may have envisioned. Now, beyond all the gameplay that's been taking place here in the middle around the jump pad and the center capture area, there's also a corridor that wraps around the capture points, and you can see that in the background, basically. In fact, I think I might go back there at some point in this footage. I'm not entirely sure, but there's just basically, this is like the inner corridor, or whatever you want to call it, and there's an outer rim as well, and then further out beyond that there are like these hallways, and there's some health packs scattered throughout there, and then it's just each team's side beyond that on the left and the right. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward map. I think the jump pad, again, it is interesting. It's a quick way to get a high ground advantage, but I'm not entirely certain that the high ground advantage is a big deal. It always is a big deal in Overwatch. High ground, you prefer to take the high ground than the low ground, but the jump pad in and of itself it doesn't seem like it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be this crazy thing. Like, I've done these things where I soldier ulted with the jump pad, and yeah, I got a few kills, but by the time I landed, I broke line of sight, and you know, it didn't matter anymore. Watch where I land, and then you don't have line of sight for too very long. I guess that's the important thing. So I feel like they did a decent job of balancing it with that in mind. And with that, guys, we're gonna wrap this up, taking a look at some gameplay here on Oasis. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know this is a little bit different than normal, but nevertheless, here we are. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a good afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.